It's Shop Talk, baby. This is the show where it's okay to be you. We're talking from Yale to jail and from the church house to the pimp house. Nothing's excluded on Shop Talk. So if you don't have a phone, I suggest you borrow one. Call in and voice your opinion live every Saturday morning from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Yeah, that's right, 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Don't forget to Shop Talk with your girl, because right here, we keeps it real.
Look at the clear. Let me clear my throat. Good morning to my lovely people and Shop Talk listeners. It's your girl Mel, and today we have a great topic for you. We're talking about what's happening in the communities that we actually live in. What's happening to our children and where they get educated. Today's guest is a mom, Ms.Moore, and her situation really caught my attention, and I'll just hurry and put it on out there because, we like to get started immediately. Let me put the call-in number out here right now. The call-in number is 619-902-2287, 619-902-2287. So, now that we got that out the way, Ms. Moore, I saw that you put a post out that went viral because, I be on social media seeing what's going on. Got to know what's happening in the world, okay? And I saw that your daughter received, she was noticed and she received a letter of induction to the Honor Society. Is that correct?
She applied to be a member of the National Honor Society, and she was accepted.
And then I saw in your post where you were saying, here comes the backlash, or here comes the, Retaliation. I said backlash, but yeah, the retaliation. Mm-hmm. Now, share with the listening audience what exactly happened, because that's the post that I saw. Here comes the retaliation, and then they rescinded her induction to the National Honor Society. Right. I wanted to bring you on. Let me say this too. I wanted to bring you on because people need to understand, we often trust where our children are being educated. We have seen over and over, especially in the last year, now the cameras are everywhere. We saw where the daycare center, you're paying top dollar for your child to go to a daycare, and then they were feeding, and this is not a black or white thing. This is a right thing. That's why I really wanted you to come on. And they had, they were feeding they served the white children first, and then they served the black. Well, it was apparent that because, they, with the cameras and everything, it's like, okay, this is like an upscale daycare, so you're able to view your child at any time. Well, they were actually able to view their child, and that's what they saw. And they put that out there. I also had a guest last week, another mother who came, and she saw something wrong with, it was a play production. Hairspray was the play. And that was the play that they were going to do. And they had 10 Caucasian non-melanated roles and 3 melanated roles, okay, to play this part. But the school is predominantly melanated. So she, a mom went up there, and she pretty much was like, did you see this? She brought it to their attention, and you guys got to listen to last week's show to, and then you can get all of the details. But she saw there was a difference because her child, she asked her how her day was, and she asked about the play, and her child said, well, no, I'm not going to go out. There's no role for me. And the melanated roles weren't lead roles. The non-melanated roles were, right? If you've seen Hairspray, you know what I'm talking about. And now, here we are again, seeing this in the educational system, where your child goes to school, she was invited to be inducted, and it was rescinded. Is it safe to say, now correct me if I'm wrong, it's me, it's Mel. So is it safe to say that her invite was rescinded because of you?
Yes. In my assumption, yes. Mainly because She was inducted in the beginning. Let me take that back. She was accepted to be in the National Honor Society in the beginning of November.
Okay.
There was an incident that transpired on the 9th of November.
Okay.
Since the 9th of November, we're still in the National Honor Society. After that incident, we received a letter inviting us to the ceremony, asking us to RSVP for the ceremony as to how many people would be attending. And then what's ironic is that, I've spoken with one of the teachers that's over the National Honor Society on 2 separate occasions since the incident at the school, and it was never, ever brought to my attention or never seemed as though there was an issue with her still being in attendance. So what is ironic to me is that the very next day after I put the story as to what transpired at the school on the 9th on social media and had probably over 100 shares by the time school started that very next day, that is the day that you give this letter stating that you are rescinding your invite. Oh. So yeah, to me it seems as though this is in retaliation to what I posted, because when I posted my message, I mentioned names of people, principals, the Warren City School District. I mentioned those names. So yeah, I think they may have been a little bit upset at the fact that I put this out there. And now you're gonna retaliate against my child. Now you're gonna try to punish her.
Okay, so you have to catch the listening audience up because most of them are from this area. Okay. What incident? Like back up a little bit. What incident occurred at the school?
So on the 9th of November, one of my daughter's friends, almost got in a fight. My daughter assisted in keeping her friend from fighting. Number one, my daughter is a senior. For those that may not know, she's a senior in high school. Her friend is also a senior in high school. They're all honor students. So, in an attempt to keep her friend from getting in trouble in school, getting kicked out of school at her senior year not only, she had tried to help break up the fight and keep her from fighting with another one of the girls at the school. So once they were pulled into the office, my daughter was the calmest one because she wasn't the one that was actually fighting. So she's talking to the principal and trying to explain to them, what she saw. Mm-hmm. And the principal wanted the girls to write statements so that they can do their investigation. So in the midst of her talking to her principal, the school resource officer came in the room and immediately started to yell at the girls. And she told them, shut the hell up. You kids are the problem. It's not the teachers. And so, everybody was just like...
Whoa, wait a minute. So,
right.
The officer that works in the school as security just went in there and she said that you girls are the problem?
The problem. Shut the hell up.
Well, okay, wait. Now, I need a picture. I need a visual. Mm-hmm. So, with the visual, are they mixed? Is it some white, some black, or talk to me?
No, they're all black. All of the girls are black. And I know there were some teachers in the room, the principal, but all of the girls that were involved were black.
So, she walks in, the resource officer walks in, mm-hmm. and just commenced to saying, shut the H up.
Mm-hmm. Escalated the situation because it had already, the fight had already, the potential fight had already been broken up.
Okay.
The only people that were in the room was my daughter and her 2 friends. So, the other individual wasn't even in that room. They weren't even, argumentative or anything like that. They were just, still heated probably from the moment. And the principal was talking to my daughter and trying to get the girls to write a witness statement.
Okay.
So everything had kind of calmed down already at that point. And then she came in and pretty much escalated, by telling the girls, shut the hell up. You girls are the problem. It's not the teachers. It's you. I deal with kids like you all the time. And the girls and my daughter had asked the principal, well, can she be removed from the class because there's no reason for her to be here, really. And she's not doing anything but escalating. So at that point, she stated that she doesn't have to go anywhere. He's not her boss, speaking about the principal. And the principal never asked for her to leave the room. He never told her to leave. which technically, if she's asked to leave, principal or officer or not, if you're asked to leave the room, you have to leave the room. Now, he never asked for her to leave the room, though. So once that transpired, my daughter began to text me and tell me everything that was happening. Mm-hmm. So she was escorted down to the office by one of the school personnel.
Oh, your daughter?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Mainly because it was the end of the day. Like, she has early dismissal because she's a senior.
Okay.
So she gets out at around 1 every day.
Okay.
So this happened maybe around 12:30 or so. So she goes down to the office to wait on me to come and pick her up. And while she's in the office, the officer walked past the office.
The same one?
The same officer.
Okay.
Saw my daughter in the office, walked up to her and got in her face, and she put her badge in her face. And she said, "Here is my badge number." She said, "I can give it to your mom if you want me to." So at that point, she was on the phone with me. So I told Ariana, I said, I'm coming up there. I'll be there in a little bit. And so when I got to the school, I came in. Well, my daughter was outside of the school at that point with one of the school officials. And, I told that particular individual that I wanted to have a meeting with the principal and the officer. So we go in. They escort me through the school into the conference room where we hold the meeting. And initially, I'm speaking with the principal that was present when the officer had come in the room, and he's pretty much telling me, he doesn't really know a whole lot, that transpired. His basic role was to just come and, obtain these witness statements from the girls. So he, quickly dismissed himself and wasn't able to really give me much information. So at that point, the officer had come in the room, and she seated herself at the table on the other side of the table. And so I asked her what had happened. And initially she's like, well, resource officers don't really get involved, too much because, they usually don't bring us in unless there's some sort of legal issue that we need to actually step in for. And so I told her, I said, well, can you tell me what happened with you and my daughter? And at that point, that's when she became angry. She started, she refused to answer my question. She's like, well, I'm not going to answer your question because I feel like I'm being interrogated. And I told her, I said, well, I'm just asking a question. I said, because I'm not just going to go off of what my daughter is saying. I want to hear both sides of the story. Mm-hmm. So I want to hear your side of the story as to what transpired. And so she's like, no. She's like, I'm not going to speak. She was like, I feel like I'm being interrogated, and she said she wanted to wait for Miss Williams to come in. She will wait for Miss Williams.
Is that the principal?
Miss Williams is the lead principal.
Okay. Okay.
Mm-hmm. She's the lead principal over the whole school.
Okay.
Basically. So, so I told her, I said, well, as Miss Williams is coming in, I turned and I start to talk to Miss Williams. So I'm trying to tell Miss Williams, what has transpired thus far. In the meeting before she got there. And the officer continued. She started talking over me. She's telling Miss Williams, she thinks she's running this meeting. She has an attitude like her daughter. And so, I'm trying to talk to Miss Williams. And at that point, the officer, she gets up out of her chair, abruptly just stands up out of her chair, and she starts to walk around the table. So as she's walking around the table,
walking around the table to do what? Towards you?
Yes.
Oh, so she was the aggressor.
Absolutely, she was the aggressor from the very moment we began to talk. So she stands up to walk around the table, and as she's walking around the table, I stand up. So now the way the conference room is set up, when you come through the door, as soon as you come through the door, I was seated right there by the door. Okay. She was on the other end of the table. So as she's walking around the table, I stand up. So, we're in an argument. We're exchanging words back and forth as she's coming around the table. And then, my daughter and my boyfriend were also present in that meeting with me. So, as she's walking around the table, they got up and then they stood in between us. So, my daughter's facing me and my boyfriend's facing me. She's walking behind them to go out the door. Okay. She opens the door. She proceeds to walk out the door. Turns around and she grabs my daughter by the collar of her jacket. and she shakes her, and she says, "Don't you ever touch me." And then she kind of pushes her off of her, and as she turns around to walk out the door again, she called her a little bitch. Excuse my language.
No, you all right. Ding. Look, I'm like, you wasn't even, because I'm like, wait a minute. So your daughter's trying to calm you down, and she grabs her. So she clearly doesn't like your daughter. That's what it sounds like to me. I'm listening to it, and it's like, okay, she wasn't even in the fight, and you are constantly attacking my child. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so then she grabs your daughter, who is standing between you and the officer. She goes to walk out, and what did the principal say? That's where I'm just like, wait a second.
Thank you for asking that question. What did the principal say? Principal said nothing the whole time. In that whole meeting, at no point did the principal say, hey, anything to either one of us, but especially to this officer
who's employed,
who's working at the
school, right? Is she? So the officer isn't employed by the principals?
No.
Okay.
The resource officers that are in the school, they're employed by whatever department that they're working for.
Okay.
However, you are still a guest at that school.
Mm-hmm.
So, as the principal, especially the lead principal, you would think that if you felt as though she was a problem, you should be able to, as the principal, direct her to calm down, stop talking, leave the room, whatever.
Yeah, that could have been easy and eliminated early on. Leave the room.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that sounds like it's personal against your child. Now, as a resource officer, so help me understand this: is the resource officer in a school like security, or I heard you say for the legal aspect, but it sounds like that she initiated it all.
Right. Yeah. Now, I don't really know why she even came up to the classroom, honestly, because like I said, when they were in the classroom, everything had already transpired. There was no fighting going on at that time. I mean, there was never actually a fight that ensued. It was just the girls were in the hall and they were arguing and about to fight, but nothing actually, no one actually physically touched anyone.
Okay.
So I'm not really sure why she even responded to the classroom when she did. And I don't know if maybe Mr. Rozelle brought her to the classroom. I'm not 100% sure if, that he brought her with him or not. But, either way, if it was being handled inside the classroom with the principal and the teachers, there would have been no reason for you to get involved, especially if your plan was to tell them to shut the hell up and that they were the problem.
That's crazy. That's crazy. So, your daughter didn't touch her. She grabbed her. And she told her, don't ever touch her again. Mm-hmm. And see, that's what, I've seen that occur. I'm not saying her because I wasn't there, but I've seen that occur. And it's like, okay, you just want that camera to say that, but nobody even touched you.
She was facing the opposite direction. She was headed out the door. And my daughter was facing me. So how did she touch you? Is what I want to know. And I even asked, in that meeting after everything was said and done, because when she grabbed my daughter in an attempt to protect my child, absolutely I went to try to protect my child.
Oh, okay.
From assaulting my child. But I was restrained by my boyfriend, so I never actually got a chance to lay hands on her at all. Okay?
Okay.
So, after she had left the room, I'm assuming, called for backup. Basically, and that's when the rest of the Warren PD, because it seemed like it was the rest of the force that came to the school and showed up to arrest me. Never asked me any questions. Never asked my daughter any questions. They threw me in handcuffs and escorted me to the Trumbull County Jail and took my daughter to the Trumbull County Juvenile Justice Center. Arrested both of us. Now, and the way that they did it was really sneaky, because they arrested me, and then they escorted me out, and they waited until they escorted me out to arrest my daughter. They didn't arrest her in front of me, and never told me that she was being arrested or charged for anything. I just happened to, as I'm seated in the police cruiser, looked to my left and I saw them escorting her out in cuffs. And I'm like, wait a minute, what are you arresting her for? And they're like, the officer's just like, ma'am, what's your name? You know, just business as usual. What's your name? You know, gathering all of my information, but not answering my question about my child.
Why were you cuffed? Because we work in corrections. They don't know that about you. So why were you cuffed? Because once you're cuffed, you're considered arrested without the story.
Without the story. Ask me nothing, Mel. I'm telling you, when they came up to the conference room, I was inside the conference room at this point, speaking with the principal, asking the principal, you know, did you see anything? Like, why would this officer accuse my daughter of touching her? You know,
and snatching her up, and then you go call her out of her name. Where's the professionalism?
Right. To this minor child. And so the principal, you know, she quickly tried to remove herself from it, and she's like, well, I got a text message on my phone, and I didn't really see what happened. So now, first of all, this is my question. This is
a meeting, and she looking at her phone?
But in the midst of a whole argument between an officer and a mother, you look down at your phone. So now then that goes back to the safety at the school, because had I not been in that meeting and my daughter had been in a meeting or something like that without me being there, what would have happened to my child? What would have happened? Because clearly Miss Sandra Williams was not trying to protect my child.
As they say when they go into a school building.
Right. No.
You hope that your child is protected at all times, and usually it's other children if there's some type of assault, not leadership.
Right.
Interesting. And I seen her stature. She a little tiny thing.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
I'm just really shocked. Now, your boyfriend, where was he at the whole time? He was there, right?
Yes. So he was facing me as well. So my daughter was facing me and he was facing me. Just basically trying to get me to stop arguing with this lady. Mm-hmm. Just stop arguing with her. And so when she grabbed my daughter, and you know, he was there basically trying to be in between both of us. Mm-hmm. You know, myself and my daughter.
Okay.
But when you know, he was grabbing me and pulling me away when I was trying to get to the officer.
Okay.
And then he even asked, like, when the officers had came and asked for me to come out of the conference room, because they talked to Miss Williams, and basically they said that they wanted me to come out the conference room. So, you know, I come out the conference room because I had already figured at that point, okay, well, if they want me to come out the conference room, I already know what's to come. So, but yeah, I at least thought you was going to ask me a question or two. But they didn't. They just basically said, face the wall. They, you know, did their little search and put me in cuffs. And the whole time I'm saying, why am I being arrested? They ignore me. And I'm like, why am I being arrested? They ignore me. So my boyfriend asked, why is she being arrested? And so then at that point, the officer, and this officer's name is Sergeant Knight, he states to my boyfriend, he says, who are you? And so my boyfriend told him I'm her boyfriend. He said, oh, I don't talk to boyfriends.
Oh,
so I said, okay, well, can you tell me?
Right, because you've been asking.
Right, I'm the one in cuffs. I thought you just tell me. So then at that point, they say assault. And I said, well, who did I assault? I mean, because if I'm not mistaken, now I'm not in law enforcement or anything, but my assumption is if you assault someone, you have to actually physically touch them, correct? That's my assumption. So I didn't touch anybody. So who exactly did I assault? They never answered me. They just proceeded to escort me out to school.
Okay, so now you're at the Trumbull County Jail.
Mm-hmm. And they had to search for my charges. So I'm sitting here in the Trumbull County Jail.
Oh, because they didn't have any.
No. Nobody. So after they got me down to the Trumbull County Jail, I'm sitting in like that, the area where you come from, like the Sally Port. You're in...
intake.
You're in... Yes, but I'm not actually inside the jail at this point.
Oh, you're right. Okay. I got between the doors.
Vestibule or whatever you want to call it. So that's when Sergeant Knight comes down and he tells me, he says, well, anytime there's a use of force with an officer, I have to do an investigation. So then at that point, he's talking to me, and basically he just asked me, so can you tell me what happened? And that's it. Asked me my name, my date of birth, my address, all of that stuff. Jotted it down on his little notepad. And that was it. And I told him, I said, well, why don't you go review cameras? I said, because it's a school. I know there's got to be cameras somewhere where you can review what transpired. I said, did you talk to the people in the meeting? I said, because it wasn't just me. They never asked my boyfriend any questions about what happened. They never asked my daughter anything about what happened. They took the word of this police officer from whatever she told them, which obviously was that I had assaulted her and my daughter had assaulted her, and they ran with it. I'm sure they questioned the two individuals that were in the meeting with me. You
don't have to say their names, because I already know you're not dropping it.
I'm not going to say their names. But one of them was the principal. And I know that they questioned them. So if you question them and you got their story as to what transpired, why did you arrest me? Why did you arrest me? Because I know that somebody had to hear her call my daughter out her name. I know you heard all of it. Now, in the meeting, obviously, in the room that we were in was just the, 5 individuals that were, the 5 other individuals that were in the room. But, you didn't even ask me my side of the story. You threw me in cuffs and brought me down to this filthy place. And that's it. And then didn't even have a charge to give to, because the lady that booked me, she had to call around to find what the charges were.
See, everyone in positions don't need to be in those positions. Aren't properly positioned. Let me say it that way. And I'm only hearing the one side, and then I read, do my little reading, because I'm gonna do a little bit of research. Mm-hmm. Tell me this: the people, you said the principal, and there was somebody else in the room, and they gave their side of the story. Do you think they sided with that officer, or no?
No. There's a witness on my side.
Okay, that was in the room.
Mm-hmm.
So, what do you do when the officer is wrong and you have been publicly humiliated, you and your daughter, and you have been arrested because they put cuffs on you? Mm-hmm. Down there, like you said, to that filthy place. I'm using air quotes for the listening audience. What do you do? Do you pass or play? And when I say that, that's why that's the topic of the show. Do you let it go? Or do you say, no, we're going to keep pushing this. We're taking this to the end because I was wrongly accused.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you do, Ms.Moore? Pass or play?
So for me, number one, I feel as though I was wronged. I feel as though my child was wronged. I feel like you arrested me in front of my child. Okay? You arrested my child. Mm-hmm. You took her down to JJC.
So separated you guys.
Absolutely. Now, mind you, I'm locked up. So the only thing that's going through my mind is what's happening with my child.
Right.
What's going on inside those doors? Behind those doors where my child is. Am I going to get out? Am I going to be able to talk to my child? So as a parent who just watched her child be physically assaulted by an officer, and then you arrest her and arrest me, and for what? So not only did you do that, but now you're playing with my money because now I got to pay to get out of here. Then you don't give my child a bond because she's a minor. Minors don't get a bond. So I was lucky enough to be able to post bond and get out that day. So I spent a couple hours in jail. She spent the night in JJC.
How does that?
I had to.
How? With no charges?
Well, they charged her with a felony assault as well. So they charged both of us with a felony assault.
That was untrue.
That's untrue.
See, that's and pin that right there, because that's an issue that I have, because you have a senior. So you're trying to destroy these children before they get out into the real world.
Yep.
Before they even get started. What is that about? And then you want to slap a felony, and you didn't even assault the person. So you're just pencil whipping them. Just like I say with some of those teachers in certain places, they are in these positions, but they are not properly positioned. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And it's like you place yourself in these positions to destroy ours. And that's how I feel. That's why I was real passionate about it. Now, I looked at your social media, because before I have anybody come on, I got to check everything out to make sure, especially when you're getting one side. I can clearly see that you are a extremely active parent. So it's not the, and I'll put it out there, you hear constantly, like at parent-teacher conference, the parents aren't involved. You hear on the media all the time, the parents aren't involved. Parents need to be more involved. How do we help our children get the parents? This is happening to parents who are 110% involved, leaving work to go and make sure they support their child. Mm-hmm. Like these. Go ahead.
Always have been present in these schools. When I tell you I'm a meter, I'm a meter. I come for meetings. I parent-teacher conference. I've never missed a parent-teacher conference. I've never missed a game. I've never missed whatever game she was cheering in or playing in, or whatever play she was acting in, whatever instrument she may have been playing, or choir she was in. I'm there. I'm present. You know my face. If you don't know my name, you definitely know my face, and you know that Ariana has support. And me holding that meeting was not unheard of. Because this is what I do. If there's an issue in the school, I'm meeting with whoever the issue was with, and I'm not coming in this meeting saying that my child can do no wrong and Ariana is right all the time. Whatever I'm meeting with, I am open and I'm objective. And let me hear what happened. My daughter's told me her side. Let me hear your side of what happened, and then I will make my own informed decision as to what I'm believing and make my decision from there. And that's what I did when I came to this meeting that day. Let me hear your side of the story. Tell me what happened on your end, and then we'll go from there. Period. But let me show you my face, because I don't want you to think that this little black girl don't have no support at home, that there's nobody fighting for her and advocating for her, because I am her advocate, and I will always advocate for my child. I always have, and I always will. And people need to know that. Because I'm telling you, when I tell you these people in positions of power, when it comes to these minor children, they think they're stupid. They think they don't know any better. They think they don't have anybody that's teaching them things. And the fact that my daughter, she's much like myself. She's very boisterous. She stands up for what she believes in. She's not going to let you run over her, just like I'm not going to let you run over me. So when that officer was disrespectful to her, she asked for her to be removed from that room. She started recording on her
phone. And that's respectful.
To get things on camera. And I think that's what agitated the officer initially, because what they don't expect, and I'm not trying to completely make this a race issue, but I definitely think that this is about race. Because number one, they don't expect for you to, as a black person and a black woman in general, and a black child, who are you if you're asking questions? How dare you ask me a question? How dare you tell me that, ask them to remove me from the room? So I think in the beginning, she was upset because my daughter challenged her. Can you remove her from the room? Can you tell me your name and your badge number? As she has it on camera. And she's refusing to answer any questions, because at that moment she shut down. Because now you're on camera. So you're not going to say all the stuff that you were saying before you were on camera. Mm-hmm. And then when an adult comes to the room to try to have a conversation with you, you can't have a conversation with the adult, because now you feel like you're being interrogated. Well, how?
You guys are on the same playing field. So that sounds like a bully.
An adult bully.
Yes. It does. And I do want to put this information out there, not saying that all non-melanated people are this way, but I do want to put this information out there. I'm this is what I'm doing, this is my preface. People, educate yourselves to allow more of us to be in positions. Because I believe, wholeheartedly I do, there are people out there that are in positions to prevent our youth from excelling. So please educate yourself, my people. Please educate yourself. Put yourselves in positions so we can even the playing field. We know, and it sounds like she's superior since she's in a uniform, leadership. Okay, you will not disrespect me because I am better than you. Mm-hmm. So not only being an adult, you need to respect me for being an adult, and how dare you, as an adult, to be removed intelligently. I like the way that she asked that question, can she be removed? That wasn't disrespectful. But she probably wanted her to stay in a child's place. And yes, how dare you? And I'm going to put this out here. I don't know if it was racially motivated. It sounds like that. Like I said, I only got one side, and I'm a pretty fair person. But why are you attacking her? If nobody recorded the George Floyd incident, it would have been another one. And another one. And our young people, I like people like Ariana. I like our youth like Ariana, because that's our future. And that's who's going to stand up for us. We have had change because of our youth. So you hear, you're like, oh, okay, they don't have a chance. And I want to say this, because this, and I know I'm jumping back and forth. This kind of stuck in my mind. The fact that she said that you're the reason, like y'all the reason, and it's not the teachers. How do you clump everybody in? See, that officer needs to be, you don't just say, okay, you're in this basket. That officer needs to be canceled. Okay, since we canceling culture youth,
And she definitely doesn't need to be working in a school.
Especially if you're stressed out. And you've already had.
She probably should go back to
Vienna, right? Deal with your demographics. If this is how you feel, don't be there. And even like with teachers, if you feel a certain way about a child, remove yourself. You know what I'm saying? Just totally remove yourself and quit clumping everyone into a certain category and stereotyping. Stop. But guess what? Her colors show through. So what is your plan? Are you able to speak about it?
Not 100%.
Okay.
Number one, my hopes is that, in an investigation, because I know my lawyer has filed some motions in reference to, doing an independent investigation. Mm-hmm. So, I'm praying that they'll just see that you made a mistake. Like, you just literally, this officer accused us of the very thing that she did. And I feel as though that was done to cover her behind. Because no, she can't say that, oh yeah, I touched this girl. I touched this young girl's mom. She's not going to admit to any of that. So she's got to trump up some charges so that she can look like she's in the right and that we're in the wrong. That I was the aggressor and that she was just protecting herself.
You know what I think? I think that she in for a rude awakening. And I think that she thought that you wouldn't be able to afford an attorney and was just going to put up and shut up.
Oh, absolutely. Because, I came in there in my natural form. I got my locks, I had my hoodie on and my jogging pants and my Crocs because, I wasn't expecting to have a meeting that day. I just thought I was picking my kid up from school and leaving. But either way, whatever I had on, don't assume that you know me. And, yes, I'm quite sure that they thought that, they was going to charge me with this felony charge and I was just going to accept that court-appointed lawyer and take this plea deal and, we would plead it down to something, to a misdemeanor and then go about our merry way. No, because I didn't do anything to this lady.
Especially a felony.
Right. My child didn't assault her. And, I like I said, I'm an advocator, okay? And I speak up for myself. And I don't let anybody just run over me. So I'm not going to in the court system either. You're not going to charge me with a felony. I'm not going to accept a misdemeanor. You're not going to charge my daughter with a felony, and we're not going to accept a misdemeanor because she is a senior in high school. Let me say that again. She's a senior in high school. Her life is about to begin.
Right.
And she's not going to start her life off with a misdemeanor and having to explain this for the rest of her life, because it's going to be hard enough for her to excel in life as a black woman.
Especially assault. So this, she tried to totally destroy her.
Yes, she's trying to destroy her future. And I'm not going to go down without a fight. I'm not. You're not going to destroy my future, because I got plans. My child is almost out of school. Let me tell you, I got plans for the rest of my life, and I'm not going to do it with a felony under my name, because that's just not what we're going to do at all. I'm not a felon. My child is not a felon, and we're not going to go through life with these issues. So I definitely plan. What I can say is that I plan to fight. I will dedicate the rest of my life to this fight. I will use every resource that I have for this fight. So don't think that I can't afford, because I've always been a worker, and I don't have a problem working. I don't care if I have to hold down 10 jobs. I'll figure out a way to do it. I will fight this case. My story and Ariana's story will be heard. We will definitely get some sort of justice.
Very good. Now, she goes back to school. Did she get any backlash?
No, she returned. This happened on a Tuesday, so we were arrested on a Tuesday. She spent the night there, so obviously she missed class on Wednesday. But she returned to school on a Thursday.
Okay.
No issue. She was able to complete all of her assignments that she missed. Obviously I said, we had an excuse. I mean,
they knew. I'm sure they knew.
Yeah, So she was able to complete all of her assignments. She went back to class. There was no issue. She was never suspended from school. She never had any type of in-school suspension. I mean, nothing. She went back to school, and that was it.
And then you receive a letter. The
first letter that I received was the invite to the National Honor Society for the RSVP. So now, mind you, the day that this transpired, the 9th, was parent-teacher conferences. So I missed those parent-teacher conferences because I was in jail. But Wednesday, I reached out to them, and I told them, I said, listen, regardless, I still want to talk to every one of her teachers so I can find out how she's been doing thus far. So they told me that, as a condition of my bond, I can't go to the school. So they set me up for a virtual meeting with all of the teachers.
Okay.
So Thursday, I had parent-teacher conferences with every one of her teachers, and they all, as this has always been since kindergarten, have spoke highly of Ariana. No issues. I spoke with the teacher that's over the National Honor Society, because she's also her senior transition teacher. And she told me that day, she loved my daughter's essay. It was amazing. She's such a great student, and she's glad to have her in the NHS. So now, probably, I want to say maybe the 16th of November, we got the letter stating that, they were having a ceremony on the 9th of December. We were invited. They want the parents to be involved because I was going to pin her at the ceremony. So we RSVP'd. So I talked to the teacher to RSVP and tell her how many of us would be coming to this ceremony. And she took my RSVP, no issue. Now, this happened probably the very end of November, I want to say, the last week of November. Still, not saying that, you don't need to RSVP because Ariana's not going to be able to come to the ceremony. Nope, took my RSVP, thank you. And the very next day, now, I posted on Facebook the story, everything that has transpired at the school, on the 6th of December is when I posted it. Now, I gave Ariana a directive when we went back to school, because I let her know what I was posting on Facebook. And I told her, listen, because number one, we don't trust you guys. We don't trust anybody at that school. Okay? Mm-hmm. So I told Ariana.
Especially now.
Right, especially now. And so I told Ariana, and then with the court case, there's things that we can and cannot say. And, some adults have a way of trying to manipulate children because they don't think they know any better. Mm-hmm. So I told Ariana, I said, listen, when you go to school, try not to be alone. Try to always walk down the hallway with someone so you can have a witness. I said, don't go into any meetings with anybody without a witness or without me. I said, so, if this, because the officer hasn't been removed from the school. She's still at the school as the resource officer. So I told her, I said, I'm quite sure that this officer is going to get wind of my post. The school system is going to get wind of my post. I said, so if anybody tries to talk to you, don't say a word to them. If they're belligerent and disrespectful, make sure you turn your camera on, video it, walk away. Okay? So that very day when she went back to school on the 7th, she was called down to the office by Miss Williams for a meeting. So she took one of her friends with her down to the office. And when she got to the office, Miss Williams came out to get Ariana, and she told her, oh, well, your friend can't come back here with you. It just has to be you. And so my daughter told her at that point, well, I'm not comfortable coming in a meeting by myself. That's why I brought my friend. And so at that point, that's when my daughter contacted me. And on the phone, I told her, I said, will you let them know that you're not going to have a meeting without anybody present. If they need to have a meeting with you, I can be present for that meeting. But you're not meeting with her and talking to her about anything. So then they came out and they handed her this letter. And that letter stated that they were rescinding the invite to the NHS, and that she no longer displays the character and leadership that she needs to be in the NHS.
Okay, so that letter, they came out with that letter, so that's probably what the meeting was, with that letter.
Yes, and that's what I told her. I said, because in the little bit of time it took for Ms. Williams to go back to the office and come back out and hand you that letter, the letter was already typed out. So you want me to believe that because she didn't have that meeting with you, now you taking her from NHS. No, the letter was already typed out and in a sealed envelope, and you was just going to give that letter to her in that meeting. And because she didn't come to the meeting, you just figured you would just hand it to her in the office. So that's what that was. So you fully intended to remove her that day. And it happened the very next day after I posted about everything that's transpired thus far.
So retaliation on her.
Yep.
That is so sad.
Mm-hmm.
That is so sad.
She earned her spot in NHS, and she doesn't deserve to be retaliated against because something that I put on Facebook. Come for me. If you want to come for someone, come for me. Don't come for my child. Don't take away her. Because we all know resumes, when you're applying for colleges, that looks good on your resume.
It does.
That you're a member of the NHS.
It
that
does.
Speaks volumes. And so now you've taken this potential off of her resume. And why? Why is what I want to know.
Why is always a good question. That's what my mother says. She's like, why is always a good question. But then you can't even give me an answer. Just like the arrest. You asked why, they couldn't give you an answer.
Yeah.
How is that okay?
Mm-hmm. And then not only that, but you give this cockamamie story to the news people who decide,
I saw it. Go ahead. The listening audience hasn't, but go ahead.
Reputation means a lot.
It does.
Okay? And when I tell you that anytime my name has been printed in the paper or anywhere, it's always in a positive light. So now you decide to print my whole name, Mel. Okay? We got Sharonda Ms.Moore put in this paper, all right? With my address and everything. Listed this officer as the victim, okay? I was removed from the school, okay? And because we assaulted this officer. What?
Oh, I would be... And the newspaper never reached out to you?
Never reached out to me.
Mm-hmm.
Took this story from whoever gave it to them and just printed it. See,
things are so different now. Before, you used to reach out, at least give both sides of the story, give the other person an opportunity to respond and tell their side of the story. Now people are just printing whatever they hear and go. Pretty much like it's okay to make up a story and lie. That's crazy. And we see, even the one young lady, and I'm not comparing your story to Emmett Till, but a liar. Mm-hmm. This boy lost his life because you decided to lie. How many and I'm going to say victims for the males who have been accused of rape or sexual assault, and I'm going to use air quotes, and these are for the people that's faking it, okay? Because I don't want to, I don't want to diminish the people that are really being sexually assaulted, but I do feel like these people with, this falsehood out here, and I don't know, I'm making up a word, falsivity. Yeah, I made that up, Dean. And you're making this stuff up, and you're accusing people who are innocent, but you're destroying their lives. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, well, no, I didn't say that. No, they didn't do that. Because your conscience is eating away at you. And then you say that. Meanwhile, people had an uphill battle constantly. Their road to be successful was a lot harder than it already is. It's like, give me a break. Mm-hmm. Give me, what's happening? What's happening? And should the person that's the liar be punished?
Oh yeah, because that's a crime.
But they won't say it. Mm-mm. They won't say it. And it's like, okay, well, I won't rescind my lie that I did. You know what I mean? Because I don't want everybody to turn on me. But you know the truth. And it's like, we just got to be more honest. It's
care about people.
Yeah.
Have some decency about yourself. I don't think in any time in my life, even when I was an adolescent, I don't think that I could have just told a bold-faced lie that would ruin someone and be okay, be able to sleep at night. Like, my thing is that you are attempting to ruin 2 lives, one in which hasn't even truly begun yet. Okay? And how do you sleep at night knowing that you've done this? I mean, all because you lost your cool, because that's what it is. You lost your cool.
And you're trying to protect yourself.
Yeah, and now you're trying to protect yourself and keep yourself from getting in any trouble. But in the meanwhile,
you want to destroy other folks' lives. And these are positions of integrity. That's where I'm just like, who do you trust? Who do you trust? Mm-hmm. And by both of you guys being adults, guess what? Somebody had a badge, but that badge didn't mean anything when you touched my child.
No.
So that was an issue. You're challenging me. And how dare you challenge me? And even with Ariana, how dare you challenge me by asking me to leave? Who do you think you are, little black girl?
Yep.
And so now she's invited to the National Honor Society, then not, because they're and you know, like I know, we've all been in school. They all stick together.
Yes, they do.
And it's like, okay, so we're going to stick together even though you know that it's untrue. You need that person. You need to be different. That one person to say, I can't sleep at night knowing this or being this way. But they'll stick together and they're all going to stick with this lie and not feel guilty because it wasn't them. You're part of it too.
Yeah. Especially if you're allowing for this to happen and you know that it's not right.
Saying nothing is approval.
You're
so
part of the problem.
Yeah. So kudos to the people that you have that's telling the truth. Mm-hmm. And that's speaking on your behalf. And it's so many people out here so worried about their job and their personal livelihood that they are willing to do whatever they have to do to keep their job. And it's sad because I believe teachers need to get paid a whole lot more than they do. But come on.
For sure.
But come on. They look, Dunkin' Donuts, what are they paying? $25 an hour to say, hi, would you like whipped cream? So then you ain't even got to deal with all of that. You know what I'm saying? It's so many jobs out here, but my morals, and I believe in integrity. That in everything that I do, that's what I do everything with integrity. I think about everything, good intentions. Integrity is everything to me. And I don't want to put out falsehood just for the entertainment. Because some people can put some craziness out there just for the likes. I can't. Right. Everything I do, I have to do with integrity. Okay, so it's like, I don't know. I'm sad. I'm sad for her.
Oh, yeah.
And because as an adult, and I don't want to speak for you, but as an adult, it's like, okay, we've been through some things. We've seen some things. We can actually classify those things because we know what they are. Mm-hmm. But when you have a young person that you're trying to dim their life, I mean, blow it out, honey.
Yeah, yeah.
To say.
And in her senior year.
That's what I'm saying.
Years prior haven't mattered. But her senior year.
Enough time to clear it up. She don't have enough time to clear it up before she graduates. Like if you're in the 9th grade, and no, it shouldn't happen at all. But if you're like the 9th grade, you got the 10th, 11th, and then boom, here you go. Okay, we'll fix this. We'll give you what you earned, induction into the National Honor Society. But as a senior, it's like, this is it. I only have a few months to do what it is that I need to do. Now, she's not getting any backlash or anything from her peers, right?
No, nothing from her peers. And even her teachers aren't really, treating her differently.
Very good.
But it's just, everybody knows,
mm-hmm.
And now you have to go to this school where, all of the teachers have found out about the fact that your mom was arrested, and I'm quite sure, in the school, they're making me out to be a monster, I'm this belligerent, violent mom who came up to the school trying to fight everybody. And, so now you got to go back to school knowing that all of your peers know about the arrest. All of the teachers know about the arrest. All of the administrative personnel know about the arrest. And then the officer that assaulted you is still at this school. Every day that you come, there's an officer there.
So the message is, life will move on with or without you. So there's going to be a ton of children that are going to deal with things, not say anything, because they're going to see, oh, nothing happens to them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be bad for me. Is that the narrative that our leaders are trying to create?
Right. Basically, don't speak up for yourself is what it looks like.
Yeah.
Because especially if it's toward an officer, someone with a badge and a gun, don't speak up for yourself.
A position of leadership and integrity. That's what it says. Like,
mm-hmm.
come on. And they lie. So, when you look at it, and being a child, how many times have we looked at people and as role models? Right. And then when you find out that they're a liar, that hurts, because the disappointment is so bad. I'm going to tell you something. It's lashing out and being disappointed are two different things. And if somebody knows that you're disappointed in them, that hurts them more than
mm-hmm.
just lashing out or retaliating. Because now, I can't remember what show it was. It probably was last week. And it's been a saying that silence is violence. That's what people think. Okay? But, and what is it? Oh, they quiet over there. You kind of get concerned.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're thinking silence and violence. How are they going to retaliate? I don't know. They didn't say anything. What are we going to do? Versus somebody that's just rah, rah, rah. Now, what's interesting to me is not even that many years ago, but some years ago, we had to, as a melanated individual, we had to shut up and put up. Then we start to speak. And our youth are out there marching and protesting, doing what it is that they need to do. And now we're speaking, and here's the voice. And it's like, oh, wait, this is becoming powerful. I need them to shut up again. So let's work on the youth.
Uh-huh. Yep.
If you don't know your history, you're bound to repeat it. It's like, come on. Stand up for what you believe in. I'm a firm believer of that.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't agree with it, don't comply. Remove yourself. Like, no, this isn't going to work for me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry that you had to experience that. Now, when was the induction? What date was that on? Didn't that just pass or something?
The 9th.
Oh, day before yesterday?
Mm-hmm.
So, what you do? Like, I'm talking to you, Ms.Moore, so I know something else. What did you do with the induction?
So, it's kind of a last minute thing, because I was hoping they were just going to come to their senses and just allow for us to come to the ceremony and induct her, because that's what she deserved. But the superintendent wouldn't even speak to my attorney. So then I'm like, okay, well, he ducking and covering now.
That's because they know they're wrong. That's it. So they all like, okay, don't say anything. Their attorney probably said, don't say anything.
Oh yeah, because he referred him to the attorney for them. So we put on a small protest, just basically during the induction ceremony, because she should have been in there. She should have been in there along with all of the other students receiving her induction into the NHS. So I had to stand across the street because I'm not allowed on school property, but I protested from across the street, and my daughter and a bunch of her friends and my family and friends had showed up, and we just kind of did a peaceful protest, and
that's leadership. That's leadership. Mm-hmm. Isn't that what that you have to show leadership? You have to have great grades, good care. Okay. So they don't want that. They want her to comply, fit in the box, and listen to what we say and do what we say, right or wrong. Okay.
Yep.
And her friends, her friends didn't change. Nobody said anything nutty. They're on her side.
Yes. So she had quite a bit of supporters that showed up. I was proud, especially with the youth, because most of them were black kids. I want to say it might have been a sprinkle or two of some white kids that were out there protesting as well, which was just absolutely amazing. But the fact that these kids showed up for her. We've had a lot of support on social media, and I'm appreciative. I mean, we've had a lot of shares about this story, a lot of these young kids that are sharing it. And, I'm very appreciative of the support, that we are getting in this. But I don't know, it was just, it was good to see that they showed up for her.
Very good. Very good. As a parent, how hard is it to see your child hurt?
Oh, it's hard, especially when you can't really do anything about it. The fact that I have to take her to that school every single day, and when I tell you, when I know it's time for her to get out of school, you better know I ain't a minute late, because I don't want her to have to stand outside the school and wait on me. So, I mean, it's hard, because what do? I attempted to try to have a civilized meeting with an adult, and everything went haywire. And as a result, we were arrested. And I'm like, well, what exactly did I do? Because this is what I'm supposed to do as a parent. Advocate for my kid, protect my kid. And that's all I was trying to do. And
they'll call children's services on you if you don't do it.
Right.
So
and then you arrest me and tell me I've assaulted somebody. And now you're pulling her from the National Honor Society, something that she's worked for. And when I tell you that Ariana has always been a good student, she has always been a good student. And even since COVID, it's been a horrible time for her, because she's a traditional student. Mm-hmm. This online mess is not, she's not learning anything. Not really. And, last year was really hard being off all year. Or just online. And so when she went back to school this year, she was happy about it, because she's like, thank God I'm back in class and I can actually learn, something and just be back to some sort of normalcy. And so now we're back in school, and then this happens. So it's just, it's heartbreaking to watch, and I keep, checking on her and asking her how she's doing. And she says she's, doing the best that she can, but she's also, then she's worried about me.
She worried about you. You're worried about her.
Right. So, we both worried about each other. We don't really know what the outcome will be. I'm trying to stay encouraged and
please do.
Keep praying. Yep. But it's unfortunate.
It is an unfortunate situation. But if I may say this, it was needed. And
I always have been one to say, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, I've always been one to say everything happens for a reason.
Yes.
And we may not always know what that reason is, but like I said, before, the Lord is always working.
Mm-hmm.
And he was working even in the midst of all of that, he was working. And he's still working. And, I know that at the end of the day, this isn't our destiny.
Right. Right. And, I'm fortunately and unfortunately, because you definitely, your post went viral, the story's out there, and to see other people sharing it and look and commenting, and they're like, wait, what? And it's almost like, so you're whooping my child because you couldn't whoop me? And I'm just going to keep it street. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, so this is what you're going to do. Almost kind of like that babysitter. I can't stand your mother. And then they take it out on your child. You're only getting one cookie. You get a half a cookie. Everybody else get 3, So the mistreatment of your child and believing when you drop your child off at school, and I go back to that again, you're dropping your child off, or you're actually handing over your child to places that you believe will treat your child right. And it's like, here we go. If something goes wrong, this is what the police officer is there for, because we look at officers as protect and serve. Mm-hmm. Problem is, you're not protecting, you're against. That's why it is so important that we get in positions and even the playing field. So when there is a vote, guess what? Mm-hmm. We have a chance.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, no, you're not going to treat mine just like you out for yours. I'm out for mine. And a lot of people didn't believe that still exists. And I have a few non-melanated friends, like my homegirl. She got me this shirt. She did not believe racism still existed. That's because it didn't exist in her heart. It doesn't exist in her heart. But it's out there. And like I said, even with George Floyd being the sacrificial lamb, and it was unfortunate. And COVID-19, you were like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this happened. I don't believe that people would have paid attention if we were still moving and going. Everybody had to sit, stay still, and watch it to say, hey, this is what's going on. And like Ariana, in this case, if it happens to somebody else, she's the sacrificial lamb. And she had a mother who has means. Because it's a lot, just like our young boys and, working in corrections. They probably don't know you got that background, okay, all those years. It's like, wait a minute. I was like, she about know. You know what I mean? Like, hold on. She kind of know it right. Y'all didn't know. Y'all should have did what I did. Go on the Facebook and look back. And you know what I mean? Do your research and be like, okay, let's see exactly what's going on. But we know that a lot of our young men take pleas because they can't afford it, or mom and dad are already struggling. And it's like, oh, okay, well, they don't have the finances to pay for me an attorney or the finances to deal with me. So I'm going to go ahead and take the plea, or I'll go ahead and take the time, not realizing that you are spending more money taking care of your child behind bars.
Exactly.
So it's like, come on. We have to wake up. We have to do better. Our children are extremely intelligent.
Oh, yeah.
Get in positions.
They deserve a chance. They deserve a chance.
Right.
A chance that is being taken away from them every day.
And it has been. It's like, give me a break. Look, we're still fighting for equal pay as females. You know, that's what, listen, this youth, I'm for the youth 110%. I totally appreciate them. When I was younger, I definitely would have been out there protesting. Now I'm like, Lord, my ankle hurt. Yeah. Wait, my back, hold on, So get out there and do what it is that you feel is right for you. You're not harming anybody with a peaceful protest. But you're messing with that psyche. And that's all you got. Listen here, that's what you got to get. What do they say? You get the mind, the body will follow. So it's like, okay, we got them. This is it. Let's go here. But, you're changing the narrative like the B word. They changed the narrative of that. That's disrespectful to me. But now you got the young people like, hey, like a term of endearment. Flip this narrative. If it's not right, don't stand for it. And I said, good friend of mine, also, you hear me say it over and over, saying nothing is approval. So you have to speak up, for you and yours. Yeah. And for the parents that kind of just go with it and be like, oh, that's how they are. Okay, well, we'll be okay. Because you're okay with, how things, the norm, and I'm using air quotes for my listening audience, does not mean that your child will be okay.
Right.
And stop dimming their light. If this is what they want to do, let them do it. Go out there. They're not harming anybody. They're standing up for what's right. And I understand how some parents are fearful of what can happen.
Right.
But guess what? But if you're fearful of what can happen, change will never come. Because that'll be the norm. So I totally commend you. Thank you for coming on the show and sharing your story.
Thank you for having me.
Yes.
I do want to say something before we end it because I
Sure.
just want to put this out there. I am not saying that every white person is racist. I am not saying that every cop is a bad cop. I can't speak to any other officer but the one that I encountered. And that is the only officer and officers that I am speaking about. And when I speak out and when I'm protesting and when I put a post up, that is what I'm speaking about. But I do also want to say that moving forward, in this fight for my life and my child's life, I am going to need community support. We are going to need support. So if you've been listening and following, if you know what's going on, please support. If we do a protest, a peaceful protest, please come out because we need it. I mean, there's power in numbers. And if it's just me and my child and my family members and friends, they don't think we're a joke. I need community support. If you know me, if you know the type of mother that I am, and if you know my child and the type of individual that she is, support us. If you don't know us, but you've read about us or you went on our Facebook page and you see what we're about, support, please.
Very good. Very good. I have to say, community support is important, but your whole story is about getting rid of the bad apples. And it's not about cutting down the entire tree.
Right. Absolutely.
And if you in the hair, it's about getting rid of the split ends because your hair won't grow. Okay? Without it. Whatever analogy works for you.
Right.
But we have to. Because guess what? Just like today is your child, whose child is going to be tomorrow?
No.
And
whose child has already gone through this and nobody's spoken.
Tons. I've seen it. Tons. But here's the thing. I can't fight, and I'm just speaking, generally. I can't fight for you if you're not willing to fight. Or at least show up. Look, I'm not, or at least show up, kind of like, okay, well, I'm feuding with this person. You want to call your cousin over there, be banging everybody, fighting everybody, and then you in the house. And then you got me in danger, but I'm over here because of you. So, and there's a way to do things. And a peaceful protest is the way. And again, like I said, what you said, that it's not every police officer. Your experience is your experience, and it's the people that you dealt with. So I appreciate you saying that. I'll say over and over, everyone is not bad. But you find that bad apple. And that tree can't flourish. I had an apple tree. Look, in my front yard. That tree can't flourish with that bad apple on there. You got to cut it down. Boom, prune it. You know what I mean? To let it flourish. And how do we do that? We get more people in, black and brown. Asian, everybody get in. Level the playing field. You know what I mean? And so that when you take a vote, it's like, okay, I see your perspective, I see your perspective. But to me, I still have a problem with blaming a person who had nothing to do with it, breaking it up. You just came in and didn't get the background.
Right.
And then you assault a child. And then you try to slap a felony on a child. I have gone through that. Where it's like, oh, you don't have a felony? I bet you have one when I'm done. And it's not even necessary.
Right.
It's not necessary. And that's personal experience. And it's like, wow, these people are still out here. And I, too, believe everything happens for a reason. And God won't put no more on us than we can bear. Absolutely. Although the walk might be exhausting, but you keep on walking.
I'm going to keep on.
You keep on going. I got to get these shop topics out here. I don't know if you have time. You have somewhere to go?
No, I got time.
Okay, well, she got time. I got to tell you, lovely people, she's into fitness. I got to put that out there.
Yeah.
More Fit. Okay, so today's show is brought to you by More Fit. Let's talk about, I see you have your shirt on.
I do. More Fit, yes.
More Fit LLC. Also, you still have the sister cleaning?
Yes, co-owner of Sister Cleaning Services as well.
Okay.
Yep.
So, Ms.Moore doing it up. Now, we ain't going to call you Sister Moore because that's your mother.
That's mama. That's mama's win, yeah.
I like that. That's your mother, so we ain't going to call you Sister Moore. We all say More Fit, Moore, Fit. I seen where you had like a boot camp.
I did. I held a step class.
Okay. Now, when you talk about step dancing or step exercising?
Step exercising with hip hop music though. So fun, high energy. A way to get people to work out. Burn some calories, but have fun doing it. Because. I'm not a huge, I'll be honest with you, I'm not a huge gym person. I don't stay in the gym at all. I'm more of an outdoorsy type person. I like to be outdoors working out. I've set up my little station here at home with my exercise equipment. I might go to the gym here and there, but honestly, I'm not that one to go to the gym around a bunch of folk just pumping iron and running and different things. So, if you can have a way to work out and have fun with it, I think more people will get involved because as we know, most of us, especially as African Americans, we have so many things that, we deal with from a day-to-day basis, whether it's diabetes, hypertension, heart disease, whatever it may be. And it stems from the fact that, we may not eat the best and then we don't exercise either. So, if there's a way for you to exercise and have fun doing it, I think more people will actually be inclined to do so.
Okay. I got to let you guys know also that Ms. Moore is a professional. Not only does she own 2 businesses, she's also a registered nurse. So, hero. She-ro, how about that? That's why they probably did. That's why it was like, oh, we better get ourselves an attorney. They might have did their research and was like, oh, wait a minute. Because, to just say that, it's like, well, wait a second. Hold on. She's this. And that's why I said that. I was like, well, what happened to the professionalism? How do you call a child? Even if a child gets under your skin, and not saying that Ariana did that, you still have to remember who you are to that child.
And what role you play?
You clocked in. You played a protect and serve role. So who are you protecting? Right now we know herself. That's why, the write-up was the way that it was. And okay, so what did you do? So you're telling me the media actually said, hey, listen, what happened? No, who called the media? Tried to get a head start. Stop playing.
Yep.
You're trying to get a head start because often you get that call. Hey, and you're like, oh, okay, well, we'll do that story. You get tons. And it's like, do you want to cover that story or no? Would you like to, would you like this person on your show or no? You know what I mean? And my whole thing, I want to make sure that I'm able to help someone. It's all about edutainment. We literally do what we do. And we just have to teach people. We have to teach people. And I'm just really sad because, like I said before, the little person is looking to you as a role model. Everyone, every adult, they're looking to you as a role model. I learned it when I was in church. And it was a little girl sitting next to me. She was sitting on the steps, so she was little. I don't even, maybe like 6. And I'm watching her because, the peripheral, I'm working in corrections. I'm high beams always on, right? But I kept seeing her move. And then it took a while before I realized that she was positioning herself exactly like me.
Okay.
And that's when, and I'm just a member in the congregation. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I ain't in the front yet. I'm like 3 rows from the back. Matter of fact, I was in the balcony. Like, hold on. Sprinkle some, throw it up here a little bit, but you know. But when I saw that, I said, wow. Like, I wasn't in my field. Right. I mean, the little girl didn't know me from Adam. But it really, it warmed my heart. And it was a wake-up call because I said, oh my gosh. That's when I always said little people are watching.
Yeah, they always are.
And I thought it was the sweetest thing. But guess what? I started making sure that especially when a little person was around, that's why like my YouTube videos, not made for children. I don't want to be the fault. Okay? You will not put the blame on me. You know, they be like, oh, I got it from... You know what I mean? But it's like these little people are finding their role models. And clearly she saw me and said, okay, that's what I'm going to do. And she kept positioning herself. And I didn't even realize it until like when I moved, she moved. Just like that. You know, I was like, oh my gosh, how cute. You know, so we have to remember, even if we don't want to be the role model, we are. Little people are always watching, you know. So it's like, okay, well, what we going to do? What we going to talk about? We are going to talk about these liars out here. Jussie Smollett. Real quick, I ain't even doing the sound effects. Jussie Smollett and his lying self. Now, he was found guilty. I'm sure everybody knows that. If you don't, I'm telling you, we knew it back in 2019 in Chicago when it first started. It was a big lie. Now, they charged him. Remember, they wanted to charge him with the police coming out the investigation and all the fees that went along with it for the whole investigation. Right. Now, he's really about to get charged. Guilty, guilty, guilty. Like, why?
For what?
For what? That's it. For what? Because you want a better role or you want more pay and you want to use the fact that you're gay. You want to use that to start what? And to my understanding, I believe it was to bring awareness to gay violence or whatever. You know, come on. And you got your friends doing it though? Like y'all should just...
I mean, we could have done that in a different way.
Surely. How about make a movie? You're an actor. Y'all could have just made the movie. Instead of saying that this actually happened. And then it was just too much lies. We got to stop lying. Now, let me let y'all know what's going on in D.C. Tell you what's happening around the world. Washington, D.C. is now accepting, they actually approved the digital driver's license. You know about that? Digital driver's license. Now, I have a problem with that because you can put it on your phone and you could just use your phone and boom. Just my luck, my battery will die. Oh, I don't have my charger. You know, like... I need tangible things. And then with people hacking computers the way that they are, no. Mm-hmm. I'm not for it. What's your thoughts on a digital driver's license?
What exactly is the point, really? I mean, I'm not, I'm a little old school when it comes to, like, technology and all this. I want it in my hand. So I definitely wouldn't never be probably for a digital driver's license. But what is the point? Like, why are they doing digital?
And see, that was my question. Why? Like my mother said, why is always a good question. So we know, like, when you reach for your wallet, they like, you gun pointed at you. When you reach for your phone. So is it so that people don't record? Because when your phone is on record, you got to go to, if it's a digital driver's license, you can't record. Right. So what's the real purpose behind that?
Right.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Listen, they got a COVID pill. The FDA panel endorsed this new COVID pill. It's by Merck. A COVID pill. It's the first at-home drug for the coronavirus for the lovely people. I'll let you guys know that. I won't even say you personally, just in general, being in the medical field. What's your thoughts on the COVID pill? Knowing that it's a virus.
Is this pill supposed to keep you from getting COVID, or is this pill supposed to help you?
It's supposed to help you if you need it, if you have COVID.
Okay, but it's a virus, right?
Where is a virus?
Right. So, just in my medical mind, I'm thinking, well, typically, anytime you go to a doctor and you have a virus, they're just going to tell you push fluids, treat your symptoms. So, why?
Why? Exactly. Why? It's always, that should be the name of the show. Right, that should be the name of the show.
Another way for the pharmaceutical companies to make money, because we know everybody's in such great fear of COVID at the moment. So now we about to have all of these fearful people go out and purchase this. Now, mind you, they're going to go purchase this pill whether they have COVID or not, just so they can have it in the home just in case they get COVID.
Okay.
So now everybody about to run and purchase this pill.
Well, they better buy stock in Merck. Because they actually have it. I'm just shocked that the FDA, they endorsed it.
Of course they did.
No, y'all can't see my face, listening audience. You can't see my face. And it's like, okay. Let's see, what else do we have? Oh, man. How is it over there with the food banks?
I'm not sure, honestly. I haven't really heard much about, what's going on with that. So I don't know, honestly.
Okay. I noticed that, over in this area, the food banks, they are struggling. They are really struggling right now, facing the issues. But the problem is of feeding the hungry people. I seen Thanksgiving, but I just thought the grocery stores wasn't buying a whole bunch of stuff, because of the trucks and all that extra stuff.
Right.
But I'm wondering, they are trying to feed hungry people and can't.
They can, they just won't.
Well, the surging prices is off the hook.
Why do we have so many hungry people in this country? Because clearly, just even since the start of COVID, we see how much money our government truly has. So why do we have so many homeless individuals?
Well, I know some homeless people choose to be homeless.
True.
And I was outdone because I was shocked. But I was told that, well, yeah, I don't have an address. Can't nobody find me. I don't have to work. Meanwhile, you're okay with living off the land, I guess. I guess we could if we had to. Animals do it. Yeah. Right? But yeah, a friend of mine I went to school with, I actually asked her, and she chose to be homeless.
Really?
Mm-hmm. She chose to be homeless. And I was really like, wow, times must have been really hard. But she said, I'll see who I want to see. Nobody's stopping by. She doesn't have any bills. She does what she does during the day, daylight. Nighttime, going to sleep, and just, I don't know. Kudos to her to choose it.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah, I'm like, But like I said, over in this area, the food banks the pantries, shelves are empty. Mm-hmm. And the pricing of food, we know, is sky high.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, come on now, buying the food and the gas. Like, come give me one. You know what I'm saying? Like, help a sister out here a little bit. Back to with the COVID vaccine, there's a lot of places that are actually they're going back on the COVID vaccine. They're pretty much like the mandate. Yes, thank you. And Disney is one of them. They're like, okay, wait, because they're losing money. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of people that are refusing to be vaccinated. And I don't blame them, though. And it's sad, though, you have to come up with that. And I will tell you this, which is really interesting. And both of us being in the medical field. So during COVID, we were heroes. We didn't even have masks, running out of gloves, gowns. And we just went in.
Bag your PPE was supposed to be a one-time use and keep reusing it.
Right.
But
right, that's why there's running out because of me, right? Get out of here. I'm not doing that because we know that. That's why people was breaking out. I'm like, that's not meant for multiple use.
No, it's not. So stop it.
But isn't that interesting? Like, okay, well, we were heroes last year when y'all didn't have enough. The government didn't have enough stuff to protect us. But now for those who, a lot of people in the medical field who are refusing to get the vaccine because we know the science. Interesting enough. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, yeah, I'm listening to the science. Well, we know the science, and our science is not saying that. Because you got a lot of doctors, too. They're like, no. So now, the people who won't get vaccinated are the problem. So you go from hero to zero in a few months.
Yep. That's how they do you.
Clearly.
That's how they do you.
Clearly. I'm like, we was wanting to put on stuff and y'all ran out.
Uh-huh.
And then recycling masks. You remember that? When they're going in, putting it into like some dryer or some, I'm saying autoclave, type thing. Like it's
a whole cloth.
Right.
Right. Autoclaving. How does that work?
It doesn't.
I remember that being an issue for me at somewhere where I was working at. Now I won't name. But, and I'm like, they came with a whole mask that had been written all over it, and it was dirty inside. And I'm thinking, where is a clean, let me have a clean mask, because before COVID, I was OCD. I wouldn't have worn that before COVID.
Right.
I'm definitely not about to wear it now. Like, I mean, I always coughed in my elbow and covered my sneeze. And that just wasn't new for me. So for the fact that you got to tell people to cover their cough and sneeze is mind-boggling for me. But now you about to hand me some PPE that somebody else done had all over their face, breathing in it and probably coughing and sneezing in, and you want me to put it on my face?
And that's the port of transport. Right. Like, get out of here. Oh, you was about to be a host.
Yeah, sure.
That was crazy to me. And I'm just like, how did a few months we were heroes and now we're zeros? Or the people that don't want to be vaccinated.
Going back to complying. We won't comply because they want you to do what they want you to do. And if you don't do what they're telling you should do, then you're the problem. And they have everybody believing that if you're not vaccinated, you're the problem.
And before it was, if you weren't vaccinated, you was going to die. Well, let the people die.
If that's what they choose to do.
Right. You don't want it, okay, you die. Because that was what it was supposed to be. Girl,
But let's not make it seem like if you get the vaccine,
you won't.
Because
we see a change.
Working in the medical field, that's not true.
Right. We've seen it. And it's like, okay. But they won't share all that information. And now they're saying that in hospitals, which we do know that it's going back up. It's climbing. People being hospitalized. But I want to put this out here. I can't speak for every hospital. But if you do your research, it is not all for COVID. People are going back to the hospital because people have stopped. People are going, your people with heart issues, cardiac issues, that's the proper term. Your hypertension, people have stopped and was dying at home because they didn't want to get COVID since it was full with COVID patients. But now the hospitals is going back up, which is a good thing that people are going to get treatment. But it is not all for COVID.
Remember that we're in this is what, December? So we're in the midst of flu season.
The normal flu. Whichever that means.
Right. So people are going to the hospital for that. And we're in the midst of the holidays. So the time when families are gathering and we're eating all this high salt food, so people are having exacerbations of their congestive heart failure. So they're coming to the hospital for that. Not all because of COVID, because I know people that work in the hospital, and they'll tell you, no, they don't have a lot of people coming in for COVID.
Right.
And those that are coming in for COVID, they're not severe. They're not ICU, and a lot of them aren't ICU patients or critical and dying. They're 2 liters of oxygen and, go home.
Right. A lot of people I notice aren't going to the hospital with COVID anymore because they're like, I don't know what they're trying while I'm out, So you have that as well. Fast food chains are eliminating some things on the menu, i.e. Burger King. And the reason that they said that they're removing some things off the menu so that they can expedite the drive-through.
Well, they should just open up the lobby. I mean, because I just don't understand why all of the lobbies is closed. Everywhere you go.
They don't want the Omicron. The Omicron. I keep saying myself, I was like, y'all know what I'm talking about, but that's interesting. But here's the thing. I remember back in the day when fast food was making a killing and the drive-thru would go. Now you go, I said they're removing things because the trucks aren't in. Because every time you go and there's something that you want, it's not there. They don't have it.
Yeah.
So what's the real deal? Or it could be the employees because people aren't working.
Yep.
Or wanting to go back to work. I'm telling you, COVID made you realize what was important. Do I really need that? Do I need to live above my means? Am I comfortable with my family? Are we content? Yes. I had the best time, but we were still out here working because we was heroes then.
Well, I ain't got no time off.
Right?
I didn't get no check every week either from the government.
Child, wouldn't that have been nice? Man, listen. That would have been so nice. And then they had what's that fee that they talk about they was giving us? The COVID.
It was a
hero pay. That's what they was calling it, the hero pay. Child, we ain't getting nothing. That was a mess. I said, a mess. You had it. Look, the facility probably got it, but they kept it. Because it was like, this is not...
They only did it for a short period of time.
Yes.
If I'm not mistaken, we still in COVID. I feel like
yes.
I probably should still be getting the hero pay.
Right? But you have so many places that if you aren't vaccinated, they won't, hire you. But I will say for the lovely people in the state of Ohio, Cincinnati spearheaded it. We're on pause for the mandation. But I listen, I didn't even have a problem getting tested. Even, before the vaccine, I didn't have a problem because I wanted to know. Mm-hmm. I really wanted to know.
Especially if you're working in around people. It's good to know. So yeah, I've been, ever since this started, I've been tested every week.
See?
And I'm okay with that.
I like it because I need to know what's going on and where I could have potentially got it. So the tracing works for me. And that's what I liked. I was like, no, it's still do it. And that's what they're doing now. Even if you are vaccinated. Well, yeah, but for the people that's... For those who are in the medical field or have access to the test, they still go. But they're now testing people who are vaccinated. Remember before, take your mask off, you're all right. But they're still testing them and they're coming back positive. So it's like, okay, which way do you go? It's confusing. And I remember when Megan McCain off The View, she had a problem with Dr. Fauci. You guys are going to have to check that out. And she was saying she was getting upset because it was wear a mask and she bought all these masks and then they're like, no, you don't have to wear a mask. So she was getting frustrated. She said, I'm so confused and I'm just getting totally frustrated with it all. And I know that most of the American people are feeling the same way. It's like, okay, if I don't want to get it, I don't have to get it. But now your company is closing because you don't have the staff because you're trying to make somebody get something. I really feel like more people probably would get vaccinated if it wasn't mandated. Because it's freedom, it's choice. And
they felt more comfortable with it.
Oh, that's the number one. That's the number one.
Make a vaccine, and we made this in a few months or a year maybe.
Listen, and they said they were starting to make it back in 1991, but it's different strands, just like the flu vaccine, different strands. But I really feel like if it wasn't mandated and you didn't say you have to, see, that's why I ain't joined the military. I didn't join the military because I got a problem with people telling me what to do. But if you're saying you have to take it, how many rebels are there out there?
Yeah.
And I'm like, you probably would be good, like, okay, this is here. This is available for you. And then more people will be like, oh, okay, well, yeah, I'll go get it. Because like the flu vaccine, that's offered. Mm-hmm. It's offered now. Before it was mandated. For the medical field, it probably still is now. But for like in school settings, when you're around little petri dishes, that's what I call the little babies. The little kindergarten, little petri dishes. Well, you're right. It was offered, and it's like, do you want it or not? And do you hope you get the right strand for that particular year or that particular virus? Tamara Mowry on The Real. She gave the info on what's real and what really isn't real. So the real ain't that real. And you guys can look at that. She had gotten, she was interviewing, what is his name? His last name is Ho. What is his name? Anyway, it'll come to me. Lewis Holmes. That's it. She was being interviewed by him. And she was saying how, and y'all know she'd been in the entertainment industry. Tia and Tamara, the twins, off of Sister, in the entertainment industry for decades now. Anyway, in an interview with them, she says that the real wasn't a safe space. Right. That's what I said. Why? This is the real. And she said because it would take her words and flip them to change the context and make it seem like it's an issue. She said then it's a battle and you don't even know that it's a battle. So I'm thinking it's probably like that. I have a friend that, and I'm not going to say who she is, but on Celebrity, the house, the Big Brother house. So she's on there and the fighting, because I wanted to know. She was saying that they'll tell her one thing that the other person said, so changing it, taking it out of context and making it seem like it's something more, and you think that you're cool with the individual. I don't want to say the name because then you can kind of figure out who it is, and tell that person something different, so then you have an issue when it's really not an issue. Something that makes for good TV. But the real, I thought the real was the real.
Right.
So you got to, go ahead.
No, I was just agreeing to what you were saying.
Now, the bike lanes, is there a lot of people that ride bikes over there? Do you guys have a bike lane?
No.
Well, we got bike lanes, and I'm nervous with them. I'm concerned about the bike lanes. You know why? I don't remember in the book when you get your permit, your driver's license book, I don't remember the instructions on the bike lane. And I feel like I'm getting ready to cause an accident. Because before, we rode bikes on the sidewalk. And
I don't know. And I'm not going to say that they should. I just think I would be nervous. I don't know that, if I ride my bike, I'm usually on a side street. But if I'm on a main street, I'm not probably going to ride on, especially a 2-lane road. No.
Listen, Cleveland, you got...
And it's clearly sidewalks.
Yes, but they have bike lanes for bike riders, I guess, going wherever they're going. I am so nervous in the vehicle. Yeah. Because if I turn right, I don't want to accidentally somebody going. They got the light, the bike. It's just too complicated for me. And in my mind, I got to tell you, lovely people, in my mind, I think what if, and it might be from being in the medical field, but I'm like, what if they faint and fall off and then boom, my car right there. Then they going to think I hit.
Fall right into your...
Right. Then they'll be like, oh, she done killed them. You know what I mean? Those are the thoughts that come through my mind. And I'd be like, here we go. And I'm not trying to be rude and saying we don't need to share the road with the bicycles.
Well, I would hope that if they put up, bike lanes, they're going to widen the road so that we can have more room to drive and still have...
I have seen these bicyclers, and they be gone, flying. And then, now, I do remember where it was if you had a vehicle, a car, heavy machinery, and you hit a pedestrian, you're at fault. A bicycler is a pedestrian, and what if they go and they fly and boom, and you get the arrow, you turn, and bam, there they go. I just feel so nervous and concerned when I see the bicyclers. So these lanes for the people who do the traffic out there, can the bicyclers have a green light and a red light, or do they? Because where I've seen them at, they didn't have it. So you have the transport, the city transport. They have a lane. You got your lane. Then you got the one in the middle on the track lane. I'm nervous to drive anymore.
Yeah.
I am nervous to drive. All right. Ye, Kanye, known as Ye now. Ye and Drake, they end up calling, dropping their little beef that they had going on. Now they're doing a concert together. Or did they do it yet? But anyway, it is to free Larry Hoover. Do y'all know Larry Hoover? Listen here. He is sentenced to 150 years. I think 150 to 200 or something. You are for real. They say he's the worst criminal. They said that he is one of, these from different media sites, one of the One of the worst criminals. That's what they actually said. I don't want to mess them up. One of the worst criminals. So why are we doing a concert to free? Who? but I'm like, can we do something different? I mean, to each his own.
Raise some money for the hungry.
Yeah, how about that? For these places out here, what is it? The hunger banks. I'm talking about the hunger banks, the food banks. Like something like that. Like, what are we doing? Now, speaking of that, Travis Scott, I seen him. He was on. He did an interview with Charlamagne the God. So I looked at it, and he does seem remorseful. He said that he did not know that people died at his concert. I feel him. Like, if you're on stage, you're entertaining. And they want to make him responsible for all those deaths. So, do you think him or the promoter?
You know what? I haven't really. I heard a little bit of chatter, like my daughter told me about it, but I'm not 100% of what happened. You know, sure about what happened. But I mean, I guess I would think because from what I heard, we continued the concert.
Yeah, he continued it.
Like while bodies was being removed.
While they were concerting. And the reason I say that is because, like, with the Michael Jackson concert, you remember back in the day, they still have footage where people was passing out. I don't know if anybody ever died because we didn't have social media like we do now, where it can be out there. But remember, people were passing out at the Michael Jackson concerts. Yeah. So that was almost like the norm, and you had the ambulance there, your EMTs there, ready to handle it. Well, they didn't have enough, obviously. They didn't have enough security, and to my understanding, this is all alleged. The security that was there was like people off social media, able to, I guess, with shirts on to say security. Like, I'm going to need the real security.
Right.
They probably should have got that lady over there. Should have thrown him out the way. Like, get this person right here. But I don't think, when you look at that and you're used to seeing that and it looks like your concert is lit because everybody's screaming and hollering and you don't know that they're hollering because people passing out and dying. And then the one little boy who passed away, I think he was 9 years old, the father passed out and the little boy was on his shoulders. So in situations like that, how is that his fault? Yeah. How's it the artist's fault? Like, I'll go and I'll speak to people and I'm talking, and if something's going on, like if it's like fights, like me, I'm talking. So I could see like, oh, what's that commotion over there? Stop the show. But I would think that the promoter, if you see what's going on, you walking out there, you probably got your little walkie-talkies or whatever on the side and be like, we got to stop the show.
Yeah.
Not the artist, because the artist is doing what they do. And if anything like me, I got a point. I'm not looking at the people, because the people that come to see you, either they can make your vibe or break your vibe if you're looking at them. Because if they're looking like they're not interested, then you're looking like, okay, and you don't want them to take you down. But the people, you'd be like, okay, they don't look interested, so maybe I'm not, self-doubt comes in. But I tell people, if you vibe in yourself and you're into what you're doing, listen to yourself, listen to your music, you like it, that's all that matter. Don't look at that person. Don't look at the stick in the mud. I'm like, oh, you want, bring us some nachos, go to the concession stand, do something, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, even speaking, when you have a meeting, and i.e., old girl looking at her phone. You're not even listening to what I'm saying. But I believe she was. She probably just didn't want any parts of it.
Yep.
But it's like, I don't know. I still don't think that. I believe he was remorseful, but I still don't think it's his responsibility that you guys didn't have the equipment that you guys needed. That's just my thought. Now, I mentioned Emmett Till earlier. There's a movie, and I believe Whoopi Goldberg is producing it. I think she's producing it, and she plays his grandmother, Emmett Till's grandmother. That movie is supposed to come out next year in October. I cannot wait, and I recommend everyone to watch it. See what happened, and this is all based off a lie. Somebody lose their life, 1955, and you did him like that. And kudos to his mother. I'm not hiding nothing. Y'all did it. You look at it. You deal with it.
Yeah.
That some people felt, a type of way because I read the book as far as her, when she went to the funeral parlor, saying, they was like, oh, it has to be a closed casket. She said, no, they need to see what they did to my child. And it is very impactful. I went to the Smithsonian in D.C., the African American Smithsonian, and seeing the pictures and seeing the casket, that type of stuff. I looked, it was like, this is so impactful. This stuff is real. If you guys haven't been to the Smithsonian in D.C., the African American, go. Start at the bottom and work your way to the top, and you'll see where we have come. We still, have further to go, but you can still see how far we have come. Mm-hmm. So opportunity is there, and you just don't want anybody to just come and just lights out. Okay, I'm getting ready to destroy you and put you right back in the basement. Right. Not okay. So remember the release date for it. It's called Till. It's the Emmett Till story, but it's called Till. T-I-L-L. So check it out next year. Look for it. Whoopi Goldberg's in it. They got a stellar cast too. Got a stellar cast, but I'm a Whoopi fan, so you guys got to just check that out. All right, let me get on this style, and I'm going to let y'all go. The style, we're at the end of the year, 2022. We're going into 2022. The style is block colors, statement pieces, okay? Mm-hmm. Remember before it was, 2017, 18, everybody was getting back into the socks again, and the crazy socks was it. I think that was like 17. Yeah. Now it's the block colors, so you rock your solids. Rock your print. I got a print right now. And then you want to make sure you have one solid though. So here's an example. If you're going to rock the block colors, when I'm talking about the block colors, you'll have like a burgundy shirt or a burgundy turtleneck because it's cold outside. Mustard blazer. Black pants. But don't wear white because I'm still stuck on that. No white after Labor Day. Okay?
You and my mom.
All right? But if you're going to rock the white, do that in the summer. If you want to rock a lid, go ahead, put a lid to polish it off. And make sure your shoe game is tight when you wear block colors. Shoe game has to be tight. So your block colors are your solids and you just like boom, boom, boom. And of course, in that situation that I gave you with the mustard blazer, that would be your statement piece. All right. So y'all know, you look at yourself and be like, is somebody going to ask me where I got this from? Is somebody going to look at this? Yes, if you say yes, guess what? That's your statement piece. Because now the socks aren't the statement piece because you got to sit down and cross your leg and who got that kind of time. So, and that was the look of 2020. But since nobody got dressed and went anywhere and everybody was dressed from the waist up with all the little zooms and all that other stuff going on, you can still wear it. All right. Ms.Moore, I thank you for coming on and hanging out with me and sharing your story. And I hope, somebody learned from it. I do. I hope and pray that somebody learned something from it. Listen to you, heard you, get involved with your children, go to parent-teacher conference. Don't allow people to say that you are not involved when they really don't want you to be involved. Because listen, child, I was at the parent-teacher conference. This one teacher never was there. She always had to go early or something when it was my turn. Why?
Because they don't expect for us to show up for our kids. So when we do, it's shocking to them.
And that's weird. And then do you really want us to show up? No.
No, they don't.
See, that's the thing. So get involved with your child's life. Speak life into your children. Because here's the thing. It's unfortunate. But please, they're at home. Don't dim their light. Do not dim their light. Be the fuel. Increase their light. Because you don't know what's happening at school.
Right.
All right. So you don't want to be at school. The child's at school and boom, their lights being dim, and then they come home and you yelling. Boom. You're not giving them a chance. So give the children a chance, as Catherine Hawks Haney used to say. I like to pay homage to my people. All right. And I am out of here. Like us on all socials. We did get comments, but I was so into your story that. So we got to go back. Look, I got to go back, look, and answer. Some people, when they listen to your story, they say lawsuit, BS, all that other stuff. So they feel your pain, and they supporting you 110%. And I thank you for coming on. Like I said, like us on all socials. If you feel as though that this worked, for you, or you've learned from it, or somebody else can learn from this situation that has occurred with Ms. Moore and Ariana, please share, like, comment, all that good stuff. Like us on all socials, and you can listen to this. You can listen to our podcast on your favorite podcast, okay? So whatever your favorite podcast is, just look up Shop Talk with Mel. All right, find you, embrace you, most importantly, always, always love you. Until next week, people. Shop Talk, you are quite welcome on your favorite podcast.